We meet again, soldier. The alien queen I saved from death stood before me. The cold wind of the distant planet whipped across the barren outpost as Captain Ryan Cole adjusted the collar of his uniform. The sun, weak and pale, barely cut through the gray haze that hung over the rocky terrain. He had been stationed here for months, patrolling the edge of human-colonized space, far from the bustling cities of Earth. This place was quiet, almost too quiet, and Ryan often found himself thinking of home and the life he had left behind. But duty had a way of filling the emptiness. Every day, he reminded himself, was another day of survival, and survival was what humans did best. The outpost was modest, built quickly when the planet was first claimed. Metal walls, observation towers, and a few small landing pads for supply shuttles formed its perimeter. Ryan liked the simplicity of it. No politics, no crowds, just clear skies and the endless stretch of stars above. Today, however, the stars seemed different. A faint shimmer appeared on the horizon, something moving too fast and too deliberate to be a natural phenomenon. Ryan's instincts, honed from years in military service, kicked in. He grabbed his communicator. "Control, this is Cole. I see an unidentified vessel approaching from the south quadrant, requesting immediate scan and response." The voice crackled back, calm but tense. "Copy that, Captain. Sensors are picking it up now. Estimated size and mass unknown. All units prepare for possible contact." Ryan watched through the observation scope as the object grew larger, moving with an elegance that made him pause. It wasn't like any ship humans had built. It curved and shimmered, almost organic in its design, reflecting the dim light like polished crystal. For a moment he thought of stories he had heard about alien technology, and then he remembered her, Queen Alara. The alien queen he had saved years ago during the intergalactic conflict that had left both their peoples scarred. He had thought she had died in the battle that nearly destroyed her fleet. Yet here she was, or something connected to her, approaching his outpost. The shuttle bay doors opened with a hiss, and the ground trembled as the vessel landed with precision. Smoke drifted from its sides, and the metal groaned under its weight. Ryan felt a mixture of excitement and caution. He had faced alien forces before, some hostile, some neutral, but none had carried the weight of history with him like this. He left the observation tower and moved toward the landing pad, rifle in hand, though he doubted he would need it. His instincts told him that this encounter was different. When the hatch of the alien ship slid open, the figure that emerged made him freeze in place. She was unmistakable. Queen Alara alive, her regal presence still commanding even after what must have been years of fighting and hiding. Her once vibrant armor was scratched and scorched, but she moved with the same graceful confidence that had impressed him in their first encounter. Her eyes, large and luminous, scanned the outpost and landed on him. For a moment neither spoke, and the universe seemed to hold its breath. "Ryan Cole," she said, her voice melodic yet firm, carrying the weight of authority he remembered so well. "We meet again." Ryan lowered his rifle slowly. "Queen Alara, you're alive, I thought." His voice caught. He had thought she was gone. "I survived," she said simply, her gaze steady, "but not without cost." Her guards, only a few in number, remained behind her, wounded but alert. Ryan could see the tension among his own soldiers. They didn't know her story, only that she was an alien of immense power and influence. But Ryan stepped forward, holding his hands slightly raised in a gesture of trust. "You're welcome here, at least for now," he said. "We can provide aid, but you'll need to explain why you've come." Alara's eyes softened slightly. "I am pursued," she said. "My empire is under attack. The rival faction, they aim to destroy everything I have built. I have no place left to turn except here to you." Ryan felt a surge of responsibility. The humans had never been neutral in interstellar politics. They were cautious, yes, but rarely did they intervene directly in alien conflicts. Yet here was a queen, one he had saved once before, now standing before him, seeking help. He knew the risks, but he also knew the courage humans were capable of. "We'll help you," he said firmly, "but we do it our way. You'll need to trust me." Alara studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then slowly she nodded. "I trust you, Ryan Cole." "I have no other choice." Inside the outpost, Ryan led her to the medical bay. Her injuries were severe, but nothing human technology couldn't handle. As the medics worked, Ryan walked the observation deck, looking out at the alien ship. He remembered the battle that had brought them together, the chaos, the fire, the choice he had made that day. Humanity had a reputation for recklessness, for daring to act when reason told them to wait. That recklessness, that courage, had saved her life once. It could save her again. Hours passed. The Queen rested, and the outpost slowly returned to a tense calm. Ryan checked the perimeter and reviewed the sensor logs. The rival faction was still in pursuit, tracking her energy signature. He knew that their arrival on Earth, or any human-controlled territory, would not go unnoticed for long. Preparation was key. Humans thrived on ingenuity and improvisation, and he intended to prove that once again. Later, he entered the medical bay. Alara was awake, sitting upright with her regal posture intact despite the injuries. She looked at him, a mixture of curiosity and gratitude in her eyes. "You've changed, Ryan," she said softly. "Humanity, you are not what I expected." "There is strength here in ways I did not foresee," Ryan smiled faintly. "We surprise even ourselves sometimes. That's how we survive." She studied him, then her gaze shifted to the window where the stars stretched infinitely. "I owe you my life," she said. "And perhaps, if circumstances allow, my empire." Ryan felt the weight of her words. This was no longer just a human military outpost. This was the beginning of an alliance, fragile and uncertain, between a human soldier and an alien queen. The stakes were higher than anything he had faced, but he also knew that humans had a way of rising to challenges, of achieving the impossible when they refused to back down. The night fell over the outpost, casting long shadows across the rocky plains. Outside, the alien ship rested silently, a reminder of the fragile peace they now shared. Ryan knew that tomorrow would bring new dangers, but he was ready. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, and they would do so again. For now, he simply watched the stars, thinking of the battles to come, and of the queen who had returned to him against all odds. The galaxy was vast, and threats were everywhere, but one thing was certain. Humans, unpredictable and daring, had a way of turning even the dire situations into triumphs. And Ryan Cole, soldier and survivor, would make sure that this queen's trust was not misplaced. The next morning, the outpost buzzed with activity. Soldiers moved quickly, checking weapons, scanning the perimeter, and reviewing the sensor logs. Ryan Cole walked among them, his mind focused on the challenge ahead. Queen Alara had survived against impossible odds, but her enemies were still out there, hunting her relentlessly. The humans under his command were skilled, but nothing could prepare them for the alien forces they might face. Alara had spent the night recovering, but her presence filled the outpost with an energy that made even the hardened soldiers uneasy. She walked through the halls with a quiet authority, her eyes always observing, always calculating. There was no arrogance in her manner, only the weight of someone who had lost much and carried the burden of a people who depended on her. Ryan found her in the observation room, staring at the distant stars. He joined her, leaning against the frame of the window. "The enemy will be here soon," he said. "They're tracking you. We need a plan." Alara's gaze remained fixed on the horizon. "I know. My fleet was destroyed too quickly. They are ruthless, and they will not stop until every loyalist is dead. That is why I came to you. Your people are clever. You survive against odds others think impossible." Ryan shrugged. "We do what we have to. And sometimes we get lucky." He gestured toward the landing pads where the alien ship rested. "But luck isn't enough. We'll need strategy, coordination, and quick thinking. Humans have some tricks the galaxy doesn't expect." Alara turned to him, her eyes sharp and calculating. "Then I trust your judgment, Ryan Cole. You will lead our defenses." Ryan hesitated. Leading an alien force, even a small group of survivors, was uncharted territory. But he had faced the impossible before, and he knew that fear could not control him. "We'll do it together," he said. "Your people know their technology. My people know how to adapt. Combine that, and we have a chance." The day passed quickly. Ryan organized the human soldiers and the alien guards, assigning positions, checking weapons, and running simulations of possible attacks. He was impressed by how quickly the alien survivors adapted to human tactics. They had trained their entire lives to follow strict protocols, but human improvisation fascinated them. Ryan showed them how to set traps using limited resources, how to use terrain to their advantage, and how to move unpredictably. Alara observed quietly, occasionally offering insights. "Your strategies are unorthodox," she said, watching as humans built barriers from local rock and metal, placing sensors in unexpected spots. "But there is brilliance in your simplicity," Ryan smiled. Sometimes the simplest solution is the hardest to predict. As the afternoon sun faded, scouts reported movement on the horizon. Small ships, fast and aggressive, approached from the direction of the enemy's territory. Ryan's heart raced, but he kept his composure. This was the test they had been preparing for. He ordered all units to their positions. Humans and aliens worked side by side, setting up energy shields, weapon turrets, and defensive barricades. Ryan moved quickly, giving orders, checking every system, and keeping morale high. The tension was palpable. Every soldier understood that failure could mean death, not just for them, but for the Queen and the remnants of her empire. When the enemy ships arrived, they were faster and more numerous than anyone had expected. They swooped down with coordinated attacks, firing energy beams and dropping small assault pods. The outpost shook under the bombardment, and alarms blared through the halls. Ryan stayed calm, his mind running through every possibility. He directed human gunners to intercept the pods, while alien guards used their energy shields to block the main assault. The combination of human adaptability and alien technology created a defense that caught the enemy off guard. Elara moved among her troops, encouraging them, lending her presence to boost morale. "Hold the line," she shouted. "Do not falter. Humanity and our people together are stronger than their hatred." Her words had an effect. Soldiers fought with renewed determination. Humans improvised with traps and ambushes, while aliens used their advanced weapons in ways they never had before. Ryan watched the battle unfold, his mind focused on coordination, timing, and precision. At one point, a group of enemy fighters managed to break through a defensive barrier. Ryan grabbed a plasma rifle and joined the fight, moving with speed and accuracy that surprised even his own soldiers. He dodged blasts, returned fire, and led a counterattack that pushed the enemy back. Elara was at his side, directing her forces, her presence calm but commanding. Together, they moved like a single unit, human ingenuity blending with alien discipline. The enemy faltered, unable to adapt to the unpredictable combination of tactics. After hours of combat, the attackers began to retreat. The outpost was battered but intact. Human and alien soldiers alike were exhausted, their bodies aching, but their spirits remained unbroken. Ryan surveyed the battlefield, proud of what they had achieved. Elara approached him, her expression unreadable. "Your people, they fight differently than mine," she said quietly. "They do not fear the impossible. They do not hesitate when danger is near." "There is a strength here I have never seen before," Ryan nodded. "Humans survive because we refuse to give up. Even when the odds are against us, we find a way. That's what you saved me for once, and now we saved you." For the first time since she arrived, a faint smile appeared on Elara's face. "Perhaps there is more to humanity than I realized." As night fell, Ryan and Elara walked through the outpost, checking on the wounded and ensuring the defenses were ready for the next attack. They spoke little, but their bond was growing stronger. Each recognized the courage and resourcefulness of the other, and each understood that trust would be their greatest weapon. In the quiet moments between battles, Ryan reflected on the strange twist of fate that had brought them together. He had once made a choice that saved her life, risking everything for someone from another species. Now that choice had returned, intertwined with the survival of an entire alien civilization. He realized that humanity's greatest strength was not just in technology or strategy, but in the willingness to act, to take risks, and to believe that even one person could make a difference. Elara, too, reflected on the bond forming between them. She had been a queen, used to giving orders and expecting obedience. But here, she was seeing another form of leadership, one that inspired loyalty through courage, ingenuity, and empathy. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but in ways that made them formidable allies. As they stood watching the stars, distant and uncountable, they both knew that the coming days would test them further. The enemy was still out there, relentless and dangerous. But for now, they had survived. They had fought together and proven that humans and aliens could stand as equals, combining strengths to overcome threats that seemed impossible. Ryan turned to Elara. "Tomorrow, we plan the next step," he said. "We cannot let them regroup. If we strike first, we gain the advantage." Elara nodded. "I trust your judgment, Ryan Cole. Together, we will ensure my people survive, and maybe, just maybe, change the galaxy's view of humanity." The two of them stood in silence, side by side. knowing that the battles ahead would not be easy. But they also knew something else. Humans had a way of achieving the impossible, of turning hopeless situations into victories, and that same spirit now burned within their fragile alliance. As the night deepened, the outpost settled into a tense quiet. Soldiers rested where they could, repairs were made to damaged equipment, and the alien guards tended to their wounded. Outside, the enemy fleet lay hidden in the shadows of space, unaware of the human ingenuity and determination waiting for them. Ryan walked back to his quarters, exhausted but determined. He thought of Earth, of the people he had left behind, and of the choices that had led him to this remote outpost at the edge of the galaxy. He thought of the Queen and of the bond that was forming between them, not of romance, but of respect, trust, and shared purpose. In the vastness of space, where civilizations rose and fell, he understood one simple truth: humanity had a place here. They could survive, adapt, and even thrive against threats that seemed unbeatable. And with allies like Queen Alara, humans could shape the galaxy in ways no one had imagined. The first dawn after the battle brought light to the battered outpost. Soldiers moved with renewed energy, aliens stood ready beside them, and Ryan prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. There would be more attacks, more tests of courage and ingenuity. But one thing was certain: they would face them together, combining human daring with alien skill, and no force in the galaxy could underestimate the determination of those who refused to give up. As Ryan looked up at the sky, a thought lingered in his mind. Survival was not enough. Humans and the alliances they formed could achieve greatness even in the darkest corners of space. And he intended to prove that every step of the way. The next morning, Ryan Cole awoke to the faint hum of activity throughout the outpost. He rubbed his eyes and stretched, knowing the day ahead would be more challenging than any before. The previous battle had proven that the enemy was relentless, and intelligence reports indicated that a larger strike force was preparing to attack. This time, it would not be a small raid. It would be an all-out assault. Ryan made his way to the command center, where monitors displayed the movement of enemy vessels in real time. He studied their formations carefully, noting patterns and weaknesses. The enemy favored overwhelming numbers and speed, relying on brute force rather than strategy. That was where Ryan's human advantage came into play. Humans thrived on ingenuity, improvisation, and exploiting the unexpected. Alara entered the room quietly, her steps light but confident. She studied the screens alongside Ryan, her luminous eyes narrowing as she traced the enemy fleet. "They are confident," she said. "They believe my empire is finished. They underestimate your people." Ryan shrugged, leaning over the console. "Underestimation is our favorite tool. They think they know how we act, how we fight, but humans don't always follow the expected path. That's why we survive." Alara turned to him, her expression serious. "Then teach me. Show me how to use their underestimation against them." Ryan nodded. "We'll combine your technology with our tactics. You've survived wars before, but humans have a different kind of war in mind. We think quickly, adapt quickly, and never give up." For the next several hours, they worked together, coordinating strategies between humans and the remaining alien forces. Ryan instructed soldiers to create multiple defensive layers around the outpost, mixing human improvisation with alien energy shields and weapons. Alara provided insight into her species, combat protocols, showing ways to enhance human movements with her technology. By mid-afternoon, preparations were complete. Soldiers manned turrets, guards took defensive positions, and Ryan and Alara oversaw the arrangements from the central tower. There was a tense calm before the storm. When the enemy arrived, they did so in waves, faster and more organized than ever. Their ships darted across the sky like predatory birds, unleashing beams of energy that tore into the rocky landscape around the outpost. Ryan barked orders, directing humans to intercept incoming attack pods while alien guards held the main line. The first wave was met with unexpected resistance. Humans had rigged the terrain with improvised traps, rocks rigged with explosives, sensors that triggered disorienting energy bursts, and camouflaged barricades that forced the enemy to slow their advance. The aliens were confused at first, but under Alara's guidance, they adapted quickly, redirecting energy beams and fortifying positions where humans indicated vulnerabilities. Ryan moved swiftly through the battlefield, checking positions and assisting wherever needed. A small group of enemy fighters broke through the perimeter, aiming for the command tower. Ryan grabbed a plasma rifle and ran to intercept them. He fired with precision, dodged energy blasts, and led the counterattack that pushed the intruders back. The humans' unpredictability made them difficult to target, while the aliens' discipline provided a steady defensive line. Ilara fought alongside her people, coordinating their movements and offering tactical commands. Her presence inspired loyalty and courage. She moved with grace and precision, using her advanced weapons to disrupt enemy formations. Even in the heat of battle, her focus never wavered. Hours passed, each wave of attackers testing the Alliance's strength. Human ingenuity and alien technology worked in tandem, creating combinations that the enemy had never anticipated. Ryan's soldiers set up ambushes in narrow canyons, forcing enemy ships into traps. Ilara's energy shields absorbed and redirected attacks, protecting both human and alien forces. At one point, a massive enemy cruiser broke through the outer defenses. Ryan quickly devised a plan to lure it into a narrow valley where human engineers had rigged energy nets. He communicated the strategy to Ilara, who deployed her remaining guards to create a coordinated attack. The cruiser fell into the trap, immobilized and vulnerable to combined fire. The enemy struggled, but the Alliance's coordinated effort proved too strong. As the battle raged on, Ryan noticed a squad of enemy forces attempting to flank the outpost from the west. He raced to intercept them, guiding a group of human soldiers through rough terrain to block the maneuver. Using rocks, debris, and makeshift weapons, the humans created obstacles that slowed the enemy, while energy blasts from alien weapons struck from a distance. The combination of human creativity and alien precision decimated the attackers. Ilara approached Ryan during a brief lull in the fighting. "Your people, they adapt in ways I did not expect. They do not hesitate even when the danger is obvious. It is remarkable." Ryan wiped sweat from his brow. "That's humans for you. We survive because we refuse to give up. That's the difference. We see problems as challenges, not threats. That's how we turned your last battle around." Ilara nodded, watching as human soldiers repaired turrets and reinforced barricades even while explosions still shook the outpost. "I see now why you saved me," she said quietly. "You understood something my empire did not. Humanity's strength is not just in weapons or numbers. It is in courage, creativity, and determination." Ryan smiled faintly. "We have a habit of surprising people. That's why we're still here, even in the face of overwhelming odds." The battle intensified as night fell. The enemy launched a final, desperate assault, aiming to overwhelm the Alliance before reinforcements could arrive. Ryan and Ilara worked seamlessly, anticipating attacks and redirecting forces where needed. Humans used guerrilla tactics, striking unexpectedly and disappearing into shadows, while aliens held the main line, their shields and weapons providing steady defense. At one critical moment, an enemy strike team breached the outer perimeter, heading for the Queen's command ship. Ryan and a small squad of human soldiers moved quickly, intercepting them before they could reach her. The fight was intense, close-quarters combat with energy weapons clashing and sparks flying. Ryan's team held the line, giving Ilara time to activate the ship's defenses. Once the threat was neutralized, the enemy began to retreat. Their remaining forces fell back, unable to overcome the combined ingenuity and discipline of humans and aliens working together. The battlefield was battered, scorched, and strewn with debris, but the Alliance had survived. Exhausted but triumphant, Ryan and Ilara surveyed the aftermath. Soldiers tended to the wounded, repaired damaged equipment, and fortified defenses in case of another attack. The Queen's eyes reflected both relief and admiration. "Your people, they have a resilience I have never witnessed. Even when the odds are against them, they refuse to surrender." Ryan nodded. "That's humanity. We fight for survival, for what we believe in, and sometimes that's enough to turn the tide." Ilara approached him, her expression thoughtful. "You have earned my respect, Ryan Cole, not only as a soldier but as a leader. Your courage and ingenuity saved lives today and perhaps even my empire." Ryan shook his head. "We did it together. Humans are strong, yes, but alliances make us stronger. We could not have done this alone." For the first time since her arrival, Ilara allowed herself a faint smile. "Perhaps there is hope for my people after all." And perhaps there is hope for understanding between our species. The night settled over the outpost, quiet but tense. Soldiers rested where they could, repairing and reinforcing for the battles to come. The enemy fleet had retreated, but Ryan knew they would return, more determined than ever. He also knew that humans and aliens working together could face even the greatest threats. Ryan walked through the outpost, checking on troops and equipment. He reflected on the battle and what it had revealed about humanity. Their strength was not just in technology or strategy, but in courage, creativity, and the refusal to accept defeat. That spirit had turned the tide today and would continue to do so in the days ahead. Alara followed him, walking silently. She had observed human behavior closely, noting the differences and strengths of their species. She realized that humans were unpredictable, yes, but in ways that made them formidable allies. Their willingness to take risks, think differently, and act decisively could change the course of conflicts she had once thought unwinnable. As dawn approached, Ryan and Alara stood side by side, watching the first light touch the rocky horizon. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. Yet in that moment they both knew something important. Humans, despite their fragility, had a way of achieving the impossible, and together they could face anything. Ryan turned to Alara. "Tomorrow, we plan our next move. We can't just wait for them to strike again. We need to take the initiative." Alara nodded. "I trust you, Ryan Cole. We will strike together with your people and mine united. The galaxy will see what humans are capable of and what we can accomplish together." The two stood in silence, a quiet understanding passing between them. They were no longer simply soldier and queen. They were partners, allies bound by respect, trust, and the knowledge that courage and ingenuity could change the course of events, even against overwhelming odds. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, a reminder of the vastness of space and the challenges that lay ahead. But for now, the Alliance had survived. They had faced the impossible and won. And in the quiet aftermath of battle, Ryan Cole and Queen Alara understood that humanity's place in the galaxy was far greater than anyone had imagined. The sun barely pierced the horizon when Ryan Cole strode through the outpost, the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. The previous battles had tested humans and aliens alike, but the coming days promised even greater challenges. The enemy was not defeated, only delayed, and Ryan knew they would not hesitate to strike again with greater force. He needed a plan, one bold enough to turn the tide and secure Queen Alara's survival. Alara met him in the command center, her expression as focused and serious as ever. "What is your plan?" she asked, her eyes reflecting both curiosity and trust. She had seen human ingenuity in action, and now she wanted to understand how it could be used to save her empire. Ryan spread a star map across the console. "The enemy fleet is regrouping here near the asteroid belt," he explained, pointing to a cluster of points. "They believe they can outnumber us again, but we can use that against them. I have an idea, though it is risky." Alara leaned in, examining the map. "Explain." "We strike first," Ryan said. "We can't wait for them to attack. I've identified a narrow passage through the asteroid field that their sensors likely underestimate. If we lure their flagship into the passage, we can trap it using your technology and some human improvisation." Alara's eyes narrowed. "It is dangerous." "One mistake and your people and mine could be destroyed." Ryan nodded. "I know, but if we succeed, we cripple their command structure and give your empire a chance to rebuild. We have little choice if we want to survive." The Queen studied him for a moment, then nodded. "We will do it together. I will lead my forces and you will coordinate your soldiers. If we fail, we must make sure the next generations have a chance." The day was consumed with preparation. Ryan and Alara worked tirelessly, combining human ingenuity with alien technology. Humans constructed hidden barriers, traps, and decoys throughout the asteroid field, while Alara's forces set energy disruptors and automated defenses to create a deadly corridor. Communication between human and alien forces was perfected, ensuring that every movement was synchronized. Soldiers moved like clockwork, following Ryan's unconventional instructions. He showed them how to use the terrain to their advantage, creating ambush points and blind spots. Alien guards, initially skeptical, quickly adapted, impressed by human creativity. Even Alara's personal guards marveled at the strategies, realizing that human unpredictability was a powerful weapon when guided correctly. As the plan neared completion, Ryan checked the morale of the troops. Fatigue and tension were evident, but determination burned brighter than exhaustion. Humans thrived under pressure, and alien soldiers, inspired by Alara and Ryan, matched their energy. The alliance was stronger than ever, a living proof of what could be achieved when different species worked together. When the enemy fleet finally appeared, the outpost and the asteroid field were ready. Ryan and Alara observed from a vantage point, coordinating every move. Enemy ships moved confidently, unaware of the trap awaiting them. The flagship led the charge, a massive vessel bristling with weapons, relying on sheer power and numbers to overwhelm anything in its path. Ryan gave the signal. Humans triggered hidden explosives and energy bursts in the asteroid field, forcing the flagship into the narrow passage. The alien forces activated disruptors, cutting off its ability to maneuver effectively. The massive ship became trapped, surrounded by hidden barriers and energy nets that immobilized it. Alara's forces fired precise energy beams, striking weak points in the enemy flagship. Human soldiers targeted smaller vessels attempting to rescue their commander. The combination of alien technology and human tactics created chaos among the enemy ranks, leaving them unable to adapt quickly. Ryan led a small squad to intercept enemy boarding teams trying to escape the flagship. Using quick thinking and unconventional strategies, they outmaneuvered the attackers, turning the tide of the skirmish. Humans set traps that the enemy never anticipated, while aliens provided suppressive fire, creating a deadly synergy. Amid the chaos, Alara moved through the battlefield, directing her forces with calm authority. Her presence inspired loyalty and courage, while Ryan's leadership kept humans focused and adaptable. Together, they were unstoppable, a perfect example of trust and coordination between species. After hours of intense combat, the enemy flagship was destroyed. Smaller vessels fled, demoralized and scattered. The asteroid field was littered with wreckage, but the Alliance had succeeded. Alara's empire, though battered, had been given a second chance. As the dust settled, Ryan and Alara surveyed the aftermath. Soldiers and guards tended to the wounded, repaired equipment, and reinforced defenses in case of another attack. The Queen's eyes reflected relief, admiration, and something deeper, recognition of human courage and ingenuity. "You did it," she said softly, turning to Ryan. "Your people, they are remarkable. They adapt, they fight, and they never surrender. I understand now why you once risked your life for me." Ryan smiled faintly. "We do what we have to, and sometimes it surprises even us. Humanity's strength is not just in technology or numbers, it's in courage, creativity, and the refusal to give up." Alara studied him, her expression thoughtful. "You are not just a soldier. You are a leader, a strategist, and someone my people will remember. Your actions today, they will be told as legend in my empire." Ryan shook his head. "It's not about legends. It's about survival and about proving that even when the odds are impossible, humans and our allies can overcome them." The Queen nodded, then looked out at the stars, considering the future. "Your people have changed my perspective. I once believed humans were fragile, incapable of real influence in galactic affairs. Now I see that your species possesses a resilience and courage that few can match." Ryan glanced at her. "We survive because we refuse to back down. That's what I've been trying to show you. We may be small, we may be unpredictable, but we fight for what matters. And sometimes that's enough to turn the tide." For the first time since her arrival, Alara allowed herself a faint smile. "Perhaps there is hope not just for my empire, but for understanding between our species. Humanity, you are stronger than I realized." The Alliance began to rebuild. Humans repaired defenses, alien guards reinforced their technology, and Ryan and Alara coordinated the efforts. The trust between them had grown, strengthened by shared victories and mutual respect. Soldiers from both sides worked together, learning from one another and discovering that cooperation could achieve what isolation never could. At night, Ryan walked among the soldiers, checking on them and offering words of encouragement. He understood that leadership was not just about strategy, but about inspiring hope, courage, and confidence. The humans thrived under challenge, and their determination now inspired the alien forces as well. Alara observed him silently, recognizing the rare qualities that made humans formidable. Courage, creativity, adaptability, and determination. These traits had turned the tide of battle and saved her empire from destruction. She realized that trust in humans, once a gamble, had become a certainty. As the night deepened, Ryan and Alara stood together outside the command center, gazing at the stars. The galaxy was vast, and threats were everywhere, but the battle had proven something crucial. Humans, unpredictable and daring, could achieve the impossible. And together, humans and aliens could face challenges that neither could overcome alone. Ryan turned to Alara. "The enemy will return, but now we are ready. Humans and your people together are stronger than they expected. They will think twice before attacking again." Alara nodded. "Your judgment is sound, Ryan Cole. Together we have proven that courage, strategy, and trust can overcome even the greatest threats. My empire may have been saved, but more importantly, a new bond has been forged." The two stood in silence, side by side, understanding that the coming days would bring more trials. But they also knew that humanity's ingenuity, resilience, and determination would continue to make a difference in the galaxy. And with allies like Queen Alara, humans could shape events on a scale they had never imagined. As dawn broke over the rocky outpost, a sense of calm and accomplishment settled over the alliance. The enemy had been defeated, at least for now, and the partnership between humans and aliens had proven its strength. Ryan walked among his soldiers, proud of their courage and skill, knowing that their efforts had made a difference. Alara followed him, her expression reflecting both admiration and gratitude. She had come seeking refuge, but she had found something more, a partner who understood strategy, courage, and the human spirit. Together they had achieved the impossible, and the future, though uncertain, looked brighter than it had in years. Ryan looked up at the stars, considering the battles yet to come. He knew that survival was only the beginning. Humans had a way of exceeding expectations, and this alliance was proof. With courage, ingenuity, and determination, they could face any challenge, no matter how overwhelming. Alara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Tomorrow, we plan for the future. My people must rebuild, and your people have proven that they are more than mere soldiers. You are leaders, heroes, and partners. Together, we can shape the galaxy." Ryan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility and the promise of what lay ahead. Humanity had survived against impossible odds before, and they would do so again. And with Queen Alara at his side, they would continue to prove that courage, trust, and determination could change the course of history. The night ended quietly, but in the hearts of humans and aliens alike, the fire of hope burned brighter than ever. Together they had survived, and together they would face whatever the galaxy sent their way. The morning light bathed the outpost in a pale glow, highlighting the scars left by recent battles. Soldiers and alien guards moved through the base, repairing damage, reinforcing defenses, and tending to the wounded. The air was filled with determination. Victory had been hard-won, but the alliance had survived, and now the work of rebuilding began. Ryan Cole walked among the soldiers, checking equipment and offering encouragement. He had always known that survival was only the first step. The real challenge was creating a future where humans and their allies could thrive together. He observed the humans and aliens working side by side, learning from each other, and knew that this was a glimpse of what could be achieved when courage and collaboration combined. Alara moved through the ranks with her usual grace, offering guidance to her people and acknowledging the humans who had fought by their side. She had regained much of her authority, though her empire was far from restored. Ryan stayed close, providing insight on strategy and organization, combining human flexibility with alien structure. "The rebuilding will take time," Alara said quietly as she walked with him through the central courtyard. "But I now see that humans are more than mere soldiers. You are creators, leaders, and partners. Your species has potential I once underestimated." Ryan smiled. "We survive because we refuse to give up, but we also grow, learn, and adapt. That's why we're still here. That's why your people survived too." Alara paused, looking at the horizon where the stars stretched endlessly. "The galaxy is dangerous. Even now there are threats waiting in the shadows, but I trust that together we can face them. With your people, I have hope that my empire can rise stronger than before." Ryan nodded. "We've proven that humans and aliens can work together, even under impossible circumstances. That's something worth protecting." Over the next few days, Ryan and Alara coordinated the efforts to rebuild the alien empire. Humans offered technical expertise, repairing damaged ships and fortifying outposts. Alien forces, inspired by the humans' ingenuity, learned new ways to integrate human strategies with their advanced technology. Supply lines were restored, communications networks rebuilt, and defenses reinforced. As progress continued, Ryan found himself reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. He had once risked everything to save a queen he barely knew, and now that choice had shaped the future of an entire species. Humanity's resilience had turned the tide of battle, and the bond forged with Queen Alara had grown into a partnership that promised to influence the galaxy for years to come. Alara approached him one evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the courtyard. She looked tired but determined, her regal presence as commanding as ever. "Ryan Cole," she said softly, "I owe you more than I can express. Your people have changed the course of my empire's history, and perhaps they have changed my understanding of the universe itself." Ryan shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. Humans survive because we act, because we fight, because we refuse to accept failure. I did what I thought was right, just like you did, that's all." Alara studied him, her eyes filled with admiration. "It is more than that. You inspired not just humans, but aliens too. Your courage, your ingenuity, and your willingness to take risks, it has saved lives and created hope. That is no small thing." Ryan smiled faintly. "Hope is worth more than any weapon. It's what keeps us going when the odds are against us. And sometimes it's enough to turn the impossible into reality." As days passed, the alliance grew stronger. Humans and aliens shared knowledge, technology, and culture, learning from one another in ways that went beyond battle strategy. Ryan led training sessions, teaching alien soldiers human improvisation techniques, while learning from their advanced combat methods. Together, they created a force capable of defending the rebuilt empire and responding to threats with unprecedented efficiency. Alara oversaw the reconstruction of her government and infrastructure, but she relied heavily on Ryan's counsel. His understanding of human and alien behavior, combined with his tactical experience, made him an invaluable advisor. Slowly, the empire began to stabilize, its people gaining confidence in their future. One evening, Ryan and Alara stood atop a repaired observation tower, watching ships take off and land, the activity of the rebuilt empire alive beneath them. The stars stretched endlessly above, a constant reminder of the vastness of the galaxy and the challenges still to come. "You have done well," Alara said quietly. "Your people, they are remarkable. I once believed humans were fragile, limited, but now I see your true strength. You think, you act, you adapt, and you never surrender. That is what makes you extraordinary." Ryan looked at her, feeling the weight of her words. "We survive because we must, but we also strive to make a difference, to protect what matters. That's what got us here. And it's what will carry us forward." Alara nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. "The galaxy will remember this moment, Ryan. The alliance between our peoples, forged in fire and struggle, will be spoken of for generations. You and your species have proven that courage, determination, and ingenuity can change the course of history." Ryan glanced out at the bustling courtyard, where humans and aliens moved together with purpose. "It's not just me, it's all of us. Every soldier, every engineer, every person who refused to give up. That's humanity." Alara's gaze softened. "And your people have shown my empire what true partnership looks like. Perhaps one day our species will understand each other fully. Perhaps the galaxy will see that together we can achieve more than either of us could alone." Ryan nodded. "That's the goal, and we've started on the right path. The enemy may still be out there, but now they know that humans are not to be underestimated. We will be ready for whatever comes next." The following days were filled with training, planning, and rebuilding. Humans introduced new strategies that combined speed, flexibility, and creativity. Alien forces adopted these techniques while sharing their own advanced technologies, creating a powerful hybrid force capable of defending the Empire and projecting strength across the galaxy. Ryan worked tirelessly, often late into the night, reviewing plans, coordinating with Alara, and mentoring soldiers from both species. He understood that the future depended not just on survival, but on preparation, adaptation, and the courage to face challenges before they became crises. Alara observed his dedication, recognizing the rare qualities that made humans formidable. Courage, adaptability, and a willingness to act even in the face of uncertainty were traits that had turned the tide of battle and saved her people. She realized that trust in humans, once a risk, had become a certainty. One quiet evening, after the day's work was done, Ryan and Alara stood together on the observation deck, looking out at the repaired fleet and bustling outpost below. Ships glimmered under the starlight, their engines humming softly as they prepared for new missions. Soldiers from both species moved with confidence, trained and ready, their spirits strengthened by the victories they had achieved together. "You have given my people hope," Alara said softly. "Not just survival, but a future, and that is invaluable." Ryan smiled faintly. "Hope is worth fighting for. It drives us to be better, to do more, to survive against the odds. That's what makes humans human." Alara's eyes shone with admiration. "And your leadership has shown my people what is possible when trust and courage guide decisions. Together, we have proven that unity can achieve what individuals alone cannot." Ryan nodded. "The galaxy is vast and threats will come, but we have learned that humans and aliens can stand together. That bond, that trust, is our greatest weapon." As night deepened, the outpost settled into calm. Ships rested in the docks, soldiers and guards took much-needed rest, and the air was filled with quiet determination. Ryan walked among the soldiers one last time, offering encouragement and observing the work that had been done. Humans had once again proven their resilience, and in doing so had strengthened an entire alien empire. Alara joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "The galaxy will never forget this day, Ryan Cole. Humanity has shown its strength, its courage, and its ingenuity. And my empire will rise stronger because of it." Ryan looked at the stars, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. He had once risked everything to save a queen, and in doing so had changed the course of history. Humans had faced impossible odds, adapted, and emerged victorious. Their place in the galaxy was no longer small or uncertain. "The future is ours to shape," he said quietly. "We've proven that humanity can survive, adapt, and lead. Together we can face any challenge." Alara nodded, her expression resolute. "And together we will ensure that my empire prospers, guided by the courage and ingenuity of your people. The galaxy will see that humans are not just survivors, they are heroes." As dawn broke over the outpost, Ryan and Alara stood side by side, watching as ships launched into the stars and soldiers prepared for the future. The bond between humans and aliens, forged in fire and struggle, had become unbreakable. They had faced impossible odds, turned the tide of battle, and proven that courage, determination, and ingenuity could change the course of history. Ryan felt a sense of pride and hope that he had never experienced before. Humanity had survived against overwhelming odds, and in doing so had created alliances, inspired trust, and shown that even in the vast and dangerous galaxy, they could make a difference. Alara placed a hand on his shoulder once more. "This is only the beginning, Ryan Cole. The galaxy will test us again, but with humans and my people united, we are unstoppable. Together, we will shape the future." Ryan nodded, the weight of responsibility balanced by determination and confidence. "We will face whatever comes, and we will survive. Humanity always does, and together we'll make sure that survival becomes something greater, something worth celebrating." As the first light of day touched the outpost, Ryan Cole looked to the stars, knowing that humans had a place in the galaxy not just as soldiers or survivors, but as heroes capable of changing the fate of entire civilizations. Queen Alara stood beside him, a reminder of trust, courage, and the extraordinary bonds that could form when two species chose to fight together. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humans had proven themselves, and their story had only just begun. Together, they and their allies would face whatever challenges the galaxy held, not with fear, but with ingenuity, courage, and determination that no force could ignore.